Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor unto Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Bahashim Rakah HaKodash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that do rule well. And peace and salutations to you, Sincere Akim, pushing the truth throughout the four corners of the earth. Wars and rumors of wars. Mischief upon mischief. The beginning of wars. Let's go to the book of 2nd Esdras chapter 16. And I'll start at verse 17. Woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings. The beginning of famine and great death. The beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? J.P. Morgan boss warns of the most dangerous time. The escalation of the Israel-Palestine conflict could exacerbate changes already facing the world economy. Let's go look at that word, exasperate. Make a bad situation worse. The continuing conflict between Russia and Ukraine, coupled with the escalation of Israel-Palestine hostilities, could have far-reaching consequences for the global economy and geopolitical relations. J.P. Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon wrote in the company's third-quarter earnings report published on Friday. Dimon said that despite the relative health of the U.S. economy, the country has enough challenges to overcome, including tight labor markets, high government debt levels. Let's go to the book of Habakkuk. Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. I bought ya. Heavy debts. America is in complete debt. There was just about to be a government shutdown. For now, the government remains open for now. Here's what happens next. After days of stalemate, Congress passed a stopgap funding bill Saturday to keep the government open through mid-November, narrowly avoiding a shutdown, which could have devastating effects. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy secured broad Democratic support for the short-term bill, while hardline members of his own party remained defiant. And the Senate members of both parties also came together to move the bill to the desk of Joe Biden, who signed the measure late Saturday. The government will now continue operating until November 17th. Lawmakers must pass another spending bill before then to avoid a shutdown. All right. Lawmakers must pass another spending bill. They don't have money. Nearly 2.2 million federal workers and 1.3 million active duty troops will be spared an immediate impact on their finances after the possibility of a shutdown had threatened to leave them without pay. That's over 3.5 million workers. So yeah, we've been talking about these things. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 3. I'll start at verse 2. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. It's going to come out of nowhere. America's already in debt. $33 trillion. Americans owe $688 billion in unpaid taxes. That makes audits of super rich more urgent. America's unpaid tax bills keeps growing and is now surpassing $500 billion each year. According to new estimates from the Internal Revenue Service, individual taxpayers, businesses, and corporations collectively owed $688 billion in unpaid taxes for the returns due last year, up from $601 billion that year before that. The federal tax collector said in Thursday projections about the gap between tax owed and tax actually paid. The ballooning unpaid bill in tax years 2021 and 2020 is also up an average $550 billion each year from tax year 2017 and 2019. Now, if a government shutdown happens, the IRS ain't working. But going back, the threat of further spikes in inflation and longer-term consequences of quantitative tightening. However, the worsening geopolitical conditions could make the situation infinitely more difficult, he warned. The war in Ukraine, compounded by last week's attacks on Israel, may have far-reaching impacts on energy and food markets. We've been talking about these things, man. The power's gonna go out. Let's go grab the book of Exodus, chapter 10 and verse 20. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart so that he would not let the children of Israel go. Same thing going on right now. We are the children of Israel, so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans. And the so-called white man is the modern-day Pharaoh. And the Lord Yahweh said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt. And Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. The power's going to go out. The jobs will be lost. The economy is going to shut down. The Lord's going to plague this place because it is spiritual Egypt.